if I don't even want it. And then, some of the thoughts which are arising are not suitable, profitable, beneficial. How come? If they were mine, I would allow such a thing to happen. The impermanence of the thought process should give us a very clear insight into the fact that thoughts are thoughts produced by mind, just as breath is breath produced by body, and that it's only our own idea to put the me in there. Once we take the me out of it, all sting is gone. It's not a loss to lose this illusion. It's the greatest gain there is. And the whole of the practice of this spiritual path goes in that direction. There is no other. It's the direction of trying to lose the illusion and to see things as they really are. This is a sentence which the Buddha used very often. In Pali, Yata Bhutanyana Dasana, to see things as they actually are, not as we constantly believe they are. This belief system that we adhere to is circumstantial evidence and also environmental adaptation. If we were to take those two out of it, we could see much clearer. But we are so habitually prone to think as we've always done and as everybody else is doing around us that it's difficult to get out of that. So the first of the four aspects that we have discussed of the mind is our thought process. Then we have the feelings. Now these two are the strongest and most indicative of our existence. We actually have a complete philosophical system based on I think, therefore I am. The Buddha says it's just the other way around. And the whole idea of putting an individuality into this phenomenal movement which is occurring in everyone is created out of fear. And fear is a human condition. We are afraid of many things, but basically it's always one: the fear of annihilation. That can happen through physical death, that's why we're afraid of it, but it can also happen through the emotional annihilation, if our ego illusion is not supported. That's why we don't like people who don't support our ego illusion. And that's why it's difficult to actualize a system of understanding which goes totally against that. But what we need to do is, if the mind is willing and capable, is to investigate. The Buddha was constantly admonishing people not to believe anything, but to investigate it for themselves. So investigate. Do it in the meditation. Investigate this body and see if there's any part in it which says, this is me, this is the center of this me, being me. This is unmovable, unchangeable, remaining. Then investigate the thoughts and see whether there's anything in there which can say, it's mine, it's me, unmovable, unchanging, always remaining, a substance to which we can point. Then investigate feelings, emotions, sensations, and see if there's anything in them. And then also make the inference of the past. So many thoughts, so many feelings. Which one was me? All of them? Then each one of us is a million me's. We're already overpopulated. That would make it really terrible. The other two aspects that are part of us are our sense consciousness and our perceptions. Now the sense consciousness is seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling. These 5 senses, which we all know, which everyone is aware, are our doorways to the world. And this thinking is the 6th sense. And these are the doorways to the world. So what we see, hear, taste, touch, smell, and think, that's what our world is like. Now, obviously, no two people think alike. No two people see alike or hear alike. Some people love rock and roll. Some people love Mozart and dislike rock and roll intensely. Nobody hears like the next person. That's why we have so many relationship problems. We think, each one of us, that the way we see, hear, taste, touch, smell, and think, that's the way the world is. And we can't understand why the next person has an entirely different viewpoint, opinion, and attitude. They must be wrong. They couldn't possibly be right. Because I see and I hear and I taste and I touch and I smell and I know what I'm seeing and I'm hearing. And this other person is saying something entirely different. So they must either be stupid or they want to make fun of us, or they want to show us up, or they just want to have an argument. All right, so we have an argument. And arguments abound because nobody sees or hears alike with the next person. We all have a singular vision, and we create that vision because the I, this one, E-Y-E, can only see color and shape. It cannot see clock. The mind knows it's a clock. The eye can see red and round. The mind perceives flower and says, I like it. Somebody else says, weed, I don't like it. And it's exactly the same thing. We can't see with the eye and we can't hear with the ear anything else except color and form and sound with the ear. We don't hear beautiful music. The mind hears beautiful music. The ear hears sound. And since the mind in each person has its own way of reacting, we never will agree. And if we don't finally come to that conclusion that it's quite all right, that everybody has a different opinion, and should we find one person that has the same opinion, that would be a great ego support and nothing else. Very comfortable, of course. But basically, it doesn't matter. It has no bearing on anything. Because what does it matter what we see, hear, taste, touch, or smell? Is that really all there is to the world? Do we really believe that? And when we know from experimenting and investigating that our senses are so limited that it's only the mind which gives the explanation, we will then also be able to see that not only are our sense contacts impermanent, they have to be impermanent in order to be bearable. We can't listen to the most wonderful music more than a limited time. We can't eat and taste the most wonderful food more than a limited time. Whatever it is that we can get through our senses has to be limited. And because it's limited, it's perishable. It disappears again. So we have to get it new. And because we believe that this is the world which will bring us the happiness which we want and which we feel we have a right to, we have to use our time and energy to renew the sense contacts. If they were really me, why can't I keep the one I like? It's not possible. This phenomena of a human being can only have constantly changing sense contacts. Our eyes are even made that way because they blink. We couldn't stare at something without interruption, without great pain. We can't look at anything for more than a limited time. It's very important to investigate our sense contacts, sense consciousness. Investigate it and see how it operates. And then also come to the understanding that we're wasting our time trying to find satisfaction through our sense contacts. That doesn't mean we can't have pleasant sense contacts. Of course we can. But we will never have complete satisfaction. They cannot bring what isn't their nature. Their nature is impermanence. And their nature is also not belonging to me. Because if our sense consciousness were me, then what about a person who's blind? Or a person who's deaf? Or a person who has no sense of taste or smell? No me there? Person has the same sense of me as everybody else. Says, I'm a blind me or I'm a deaf me. If that